Welcome to Legal English Lab. Today, we dive into the history and legacy of the Islamic Republic of Iran, from the fall of the monarchy to the rise of a theocratic regime and its impact on civil rights, nuclear diplomacy, and the region. Iran says its nuclear program is peaceful, but is it really about defense or destruction? Let's trace how a revolution built a regime obsessed with ideology and annihilation. Before the revolution, Iran under the Shah. Iran was once a constitutional monarchy ruled by Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the last Shah. Under his rule, modernization, secular reforms, close ties with the U.S. and Israel. Iran gave refuge to many, including during World War II. Interesting fact, Iran offered safe passage to thousands of Polish refugees, and even supported Jewish resettlement efforts before the founding of Israel. Relations with Israel were surprisingly friendly, but beneath modernization, there was growing unrest, fueled by authoritarianism, inequality, and Western interference. Led by Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, the revolution overthrew the Shah in 1979. Khomeini installed a theocratic regime based on Shia Islamic principles. Secularism was replaced by religious rule. Islam became law. Many Iranians hoped for freedom. What they got was repression in a different form. Sharia became the foundation of governance. The supreme leader was above elected institutions. The Shah fled Iran in exile. His family faced tragedy and fragmentation. His wife, Empress Farah, still speaks publicly from abroad. One of his sons died by suicide in exile, a symbol of a broken legacy. The monarchy didn't just collapse. It was erased from Iranian identity. Former elites lost everything. Thousands were executed or fled. Empress Farah Pahlavi is still alive. She lives in exile, mostly in France and the U.S. To this day, she speaks publicly and remains a symbol of Iran's royal past. For many Iranians in exile, she represents a different vision of the country before the revolution. Before 1979, Israel and Iran had strategic cooperation, including oil and military trade. After the revolution, Ayatollah Khomeini declared Israel the little Satan. The regime embraced ideological anti-Zionism, calling for the destruction of Israel. This was not just foreign policy. It became a religious and national identity. Decades of hostility followed, with Iran supporting Hezbollah and Hamas, while Israel considered Iran its top threat. Iran's system of internal control is built on two pillars. First, the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, acts as a parallel army, loyal not to the people, but to the supreme leader. Second, the Basij and the morality police. They're used to suppress protests, enforce job laws, and intimidate activists. Together, they form the machinery of fear. By 2009, public frustration in Iran had been growing for years. Rising unemployment, political repression, and lack of basic freedoms pushed many to the edge. The Green Movement was not just about one election. It was the breaking point. Millions of Iranians, led by students, women, and reformists, took to the streets in peaceful protest. Their slogan was simple: "Where is my vote?" The regime responded with beatings, arrests, and executions. It marked one of the largest uprisings since the Islamic Revolution and showed just how deep the anger had become. In November 2019, the Iranian government suddenly raised fuel prices by 300%. The move outraged citizens, not only because of the price hike, but because Iran is one of the world's top oil producers. People asked, why are we paying more when we sit on oil? The answer lies in years of international sanctions. imposed over Iran's nuclear program. Sanctions cut the country off from global markets and modern technology. Fuel production and distribution became unreliable. In Tehran, the government even enforced driving schedules based on license plate numbers because it couldn't meet fuel demand. Public transportation and rail systems were weak, so millions depended on cheap gas just to survive. When protests erupted across more than 100 cities, the regime panicked. It shut down the internet, then it opened fire. In just a few days, security forces killed over 1,500 protesters, turning city streets into killing zones. It was one of the bloodiest crackdowns in the Islamic Republic's history. For decades, the Islamic Republic has silenced its people with fear, through arrests, executions, and moral policing. But in 2022, something changed. One name broke the silence. One death became a nationwide cry for justice. And the face of resistance was a woman. In September 2022, a 22-year-old Kurdish woman named Mahsa Amini died in police custody. Her crime? Improperly wearing a hijab. She was arrested by Iran's morality police, and according to witnesses, beaten so severely that she fell into a coma. Her death became a spark, and within days, protests exploded across the country. But this uprising was different. It was led by women, burning their headscarves, cutting their hair, and chanting a new slogan: woman, life, freedom. The regime responded with tear gas, arrests, torture, and bullets. Hundreds were killed, thousands imprisoned. Even under a repressive regime, Iran is still part of the nuclear deal, the JCPOA. It was designed to limit uranium enrichment in exchange for lifting sanctions. But Iran continues to push the boundaries. Why? Because for the regime, ideology comes before development. Religion became political power, not private faith, and the cost has been high. Sanctions, economic crisis, and a generation demanding change. But there's something even more dangerous. When a state openly calls for the destruction of another, it crosses a red line. Such goals are unacceptable in the civilized world. Nuclear weapons are meant for deterrence, not aggression. And even that logic is fading. Today, high-precision drones can defend borders and strike military targets faster, cheaper, and more accurately. The age of nuclear threats is no longer absolute. Under international law, no country has a right to call for the destruction of another. The UN Charter is clear. Threats or use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state are strictly prohibited. When a regime openly declares that another country should be wiped out, it crosses a legal and moral red line. This kind of rhetoric isn't just dangerous. It may even amount to incitement to genocide under the Genocide Convention. Nuclear weapons, by their nature, are meant for deterrence, not aggression. And even that logic is now outdated. Today, high-precision drones can defend borders and strike military targets with far greater accuracy and far fewer civilian casualties. In the eyes of international law, weapons must follow principles: distinction, proportionality, and necessity. Drones can meet these standards. Nuclear weapons cannot. The world doesn't just need disarmament. It needs restraint. And it needs leaders who respect the law, not those who weaponize ideology. So what does Iran's story teach us? That revolutions can devour their own dreams. That religion, when turned into state power, can silence the very voices it claims to defend. And that law without justice is just another tool of control. New videos coming soon. Subscribe Legal English Lab. Don't forget to like the video, share and comment.